with Andrew Borash about advancements in technology in the aviation industry.
Hi, I'm Andrew. I'm a certified flight instructor here in Bozeman, Montana. I've been flying technically since I was 7 years old, but officially flying since 2016. The aviation industry, and specifically airlines as Boeing and Airbus, have made huge strides to improve and to become more fuel efficient and more efficient in general all around. Boeing just released a 777, it's a 777-MAX. I think it's the MAX 10, I believe. It has a ton of new improvements, one being foldable winglets. On the ends of these wings here, the big problem is the high pressure spills over the top and reduces efficiency on top of the wing. And what that does is it reduces efficiency by reducing lift and increasing drag and a whole bunch of other stuff that we don't have to get into. But Boeing, what they just introduced was this concept of foldable wingtips. And either the wingtip will be like this or completely straight up. And what that does is it allows the airflow to go over the top of the wing, get blocked by that winglet, it's called, and then spiral out the back. And that allows more efficiency on the wings. And so that's just aerodynamically speaking, that's one way that airlines are becoming more efficient. So the 787 Dreamliner, that's a decently new aircraft. Amazing, amazing plane. It's really cool, actually, technologically advanced. It's mainly made out of, I think it's like over 50% like carbon composite, basically, instead of metal frame like we have here, right? So it reduces weight, which in turn increases efficiency. The big kicker here with aviation and with airplanes, right? Because the biggest thing that like everybody asks me, or like I ask people, it's like, why don't we just go electric? We have electric cars, why not electric airplanes? Well, the thing with an electric airplane is it's the equation of weight. So in our airplane, like let's take this airplane for example, 401 Hotel X-ray. Cessna 172, it holds 38 gallons of fuel. Right now with our exhaust modifications and that we've done to it with everything that it has, I think roughly it's burning, I'm gonna be a little conservative and say 8 gallons per hour. Well, that 8 gallons per hour is equivalent to time, right? So it's all about time in the air. If we have 38, right, 38 divided by 8 gallons per hour gives you your time. As we fly and we burn more fuel, we become lighter in the air, right? As we become lighter in the air, we get to go faster, which in turn becomes farther. So the problem with electric-driven aircraft is batteries store our electricity. It's the exact same concept of fuel by energy consumption. However, as you drain a battery, the battery doesn't get lighter. And that's the problem with electric-driven aircraft is you have a dense battery that weighs the same, right? No matter what, if it's fully charged or not. And even if it's completely empty, it's not any lighter, which means you still have all that dead weight. That's the biggest push right now with electric-driven aircraft, and we've only seen small aircraft. It's a little trainer aircraft. It's actually the first certified electric aircraft, and that's like kind of your grounds for electric-driven aircraft. How can we make airlines or like the aviation industry more efficient? Well, for one, we have to make more fuel-efficient engines, which Boeing and Airbus are doing very rapidly. You have to make them lighter. You have to make them quieter because noise complaints are real now, which is crazy. So Boeing and Airbus are creating new engines that are more fuel efficient, more economically healthier for the environment, and so on and so forth. So I actually got in a little, not fight, but argument with one of my environment teachers in college because she didn't really like pilots that much. And she always talked about saying that the aviation industry was the #1 cause for global warming. Well, if you actually look at it with the aviation industry, how it is today, we've become more efficient, more so than ever before. And we're continually making those strides every single day. If you look at an aircraft like, let's say a Boeing 707, I'll say that for you to research. A Boeing 707 during takeoff has 4 engines. This was back in like, I think the 60s or 70s, something like that, maybe even 80s. It would take off and it would just leave a trail of black smoke just because of how dirty the engines were. Now, if you look at the 787 Dreamliner, when it takes off, it's all clean. Of course, it's still exhaust, it's still burning fuel and all that stuff, but it's cleaner air compared to that 707. It's more economical than you really think. There's a lot more use to it, and there's a lot of people that would essentially not be able to live, an example being like Alaska or Canada, they wouldn't be able to live if they didn't have aviation. There's people in this world that rely on aviation, and aviation can be a wonderful and great thing. I wish people knew more about the community of aviation instead of it just as a job, because it's not just a job, it's a way of life. And when you treat it that way and treat it instead of just a job or you're just working for a company, when it's a way of life, it's a part of who you are, like this, it's a part of who I am. So yeah, it's in my blood. Actually my how does it go? I think it's called my great grand uncle was one of the first top 60 first registered aviators. His name's actually in the Smithsonian. And he was actually used by the San Francisco mayor to fly a piece of mail from one side of the Golden Gate Bay to the other. And the mayor said, see, these things can be used for mail running, and then all of a sudden sparked the mail run industry and the mail run era of aviation. The Instructor answer is government rule makers, and specifically the FAA in general. We have a set of guidelines that are essentially called currency, and currency is essentially your legal minimums. Legally, you're allowed to get your private pilot's license, your regular license, to go fly this bad boy, and you can go and do your training in it, and let's say it takes 6 months to do your training. Once you get your license, you can fly this as much as you want. You have 2 years to do whatever you want with this. So there's a lot of difference between legal currency and legal currency and then what we call proficiency. The proficiency side of things is to make you better. I wish that they would look more towards the proficiency side of things instead of just what is, legally current. What is the legal minimum that we can throw at you? They try to develop the best solution for a problem, right? As they do, right? As best as they can. Our FAR-ing, which is our regulations, is essentially written in blood, unfortunately. So I get where they stand with all this. But there's a lot that we can do more. If they understand that we can up our proficiency side of things and instead of just saying legal currency, I think that would be huge. At least on the government side of things, letting it be let's say these are our proficiencies, these are the industry standard type of thing, and then leave it at that instead of trying to restrict it with regulations.
Yeah, so if policymakers knew what from your point of view, from your perspective, and there was something that could be changed, like law or a restriction that is in place, what would you want them to be changed?
Well, that's an interesting question because there's actually AOPA. It's a fantastic organization that basically is the voice for aviation. And so they do really hard work to try to get it back because a lot of them are pilots. Like the lawyers are pilots. That's awesome. Everybody that is in that organization, most of them are pilots. They have some sort of pilot DNA, right? And so they know that it's like, okay, they kind of know what is our problem, right? Maybe having them listen to that organization a little bit more, or listen to the voice of the people that actually are talking to like AOPA or like this is a little bit different, but EAA, Experimental Association, Aircraft Association. The groups that are being our advocates, if they listen to that.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure.